Bob, thanks for coming. To recap 2025, now we're going to do it superlative style, okay?
All right.
I'm going to ask you a few questions here. First off, at the top, what do you think was the most impactful sports story of 2025 here in Boston?
Well, that's pretty easy. It was the return to prominence of the New England Patriots. After a couple of off years and people not forgetting, nobody forgot what was going on the first 20-some years of the century, but yearning for them. Everybody thought they might be better, and they got the schedule. Oh, boy, they got the schedule. And they got a new coach, and it was great signs of the quarterback turning into somebody special. And both of those guys get A-pluses on their resume so far this year. And the Patriots are back and have regained supremacy in this town. And you know, let's face it, football is America's pastime in the 21st century, and we're right back in the mainstream of that discussion now.
Yeah, no question. No one expected the Patriots to have such a great season. It felt like old times at Foxborough. The place was rocking. A really fun season, and I think a sign that Boston has really become a football town now. Number two, what was your top game of the year here in Boston?
Well, I'm sure that beating Buffalo was very, very impactful for people. But for me personally, and games I actually attended, Friday night, September 26th, the Red Sox are playing the Detroit Tigers. If they win, they will get back in the playoffs for the first time since 2021. And the game was riveting. It was why we love sports. I remember it was euphoric, and they win the game on a rarity of rarities, a walk-off triple. We all said walk-off singles. We've seen walk-off walks. We've seen walk-off errors. We've seen walk-off doubles and homers. You never see a walk-off triple, but that's what we had. And with Rafaela, who after Romy Gonzalez singles in the ninth inning in the tie game, he hits one, and the ball is heading to center field, and we're thinking, hey, it might go out. And I know Alex Cora thought it was going out, but it didn't. It hits off the wall just above the outstretched, glove of Parker Meadows, the center fielder for the Tigers. Bounds over to right field, and Gonzalez is able to score from first, and Rafaela is on third. The crowd, I'm telling you right now, the crowd, 37,052. Can anybody ask you? The crowd was absolutely ecstatic. It was so much fun, and walking out of there and walking down the street with people, it was my moment of the year. One other thing, two other things about that game. They were down 3-0, and they come back with single runs, 3-1. Then they got a single run in the seventh, single run in the eighth, and then the game-winning run in the ninth. And meanwhile, 6 relievers combined for 2 hits and no runs, making the manager look very smart. You know, we're always complaining about how they manipulate relievers these days. Well, on this particular occasion, Alex Cora pushed 6 proper buttons to win that game. So that's my memorable game of the year.
Yeah, definitely capped off a really fun year. A fun fall down at Fenway Park. All right, Bob, what was your transaction of the year in Boston sports?
Number one, Garrett Crochet. That turned out to be a wonderful acquisition. I would say the first runner-up would be Stephon Diggs, and I would say I had another one, but I've forgotten. But of course, Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman was a very instrumental part of the puzzle, and let's hope that they can keep him. But clearly, Crochet turned out to be, if not everything they wanted, 98% of what they thought they were going to get, they got out of Garrett Crochet, who's 26 years old and figures to be the ace of the staff for several years to come.
Yeah, I mean, I know that maybe they're not players, but I would argue Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels have been the transaction of the year.
I wouldn't argue that, and I wouldn't dispute that at all. I was thinking more of player acquisitions that were not present at all. And of course, Vrabel qualifies in that regard too.
All right, Bob, moving on to the fourth question here. What was your biggest disappointment in Boston sports?
Well, it was the fact that the Celtics flamed out, and they did. And that they, overall, you know, unable to defend the championship with the same roster, you know, really. And but it wasn't the same year. We know Porzingis had the illness, and that really was a very, very significant. But you don't like to lose, and then losing to the Knicks. You don't like to lose to the Knicks. That's never going to change. So that was a disappointment that they weren't able to do it. Simple as that.
Yeah, and Tatum's Achilles too. Just a brutal way for the season to end. All right, well, let's cap it off on a more positive note then. What was your top moment of the year in Boston sports?
I'm going to go back to, for me, frankly, it was that game in September with the Red Sox, because, you know, it was culminating a rise. Remember, they ended May under 500. And it was doom and gloom around here. Nobody was thinking playoffs, believe me. And they captured our attention as the season went on. I won't, and I think they became very, very enjoyable to watch, and I don't think I'm alone in saying that. And then this capped it off. So, they did it. They're back in the playoffs. I don't think anyone thought they were going to win the World Series or anything else, but it was nice to be back in the postseason, and I have to revert back to that. That was the moment, and I'm telling you, I can't exaggerate the feeling in that ballpark. And I've been, been to a few since I first went to the first Red Sox game in 1963, but this was a really electric moment, and it was just so much fun walking out of there.
That's tremendous. All right, Bob, Ryan, thank you so much for your insight. Happy New Year to you.